The Joystick Show.
Welcome back to the Joystick Show, where your three favorite friends from Hawaii here to talk story about comic news, pop culture, and video games. If this is your first time, thank you for spending some time with us. I'm your co-host Drake. That's Thomas.
What up, what up?
That's Scott.
How's it?
And stick around.
So Thomas, you were at LA Comic-Con. What'd you think of it?
Oh my God. It was an incredible weekend, man. From just getting in there and getting the passes, it was really easy. It was super smooth. The expo was massive. They had an anime section, a video game section, a streaming section, and then you had your, normal vendors from comic books to Funko Pops to art and an awesome main stage, and then all these breakout panel rooms. So it was just a really incredible action-packed weekend.
Was this your first convention, or have you been to them in the past?
I've been to some in the past, but only as a fan. So coming in and trying to get, some panels recorded and talking to people for the podcast, it was a whole different experience, but just so much fun. It was incredible.
Do you think that improved your experience or made it harder? Probably both.
Yeah, it's just different, right? Like it was, as a fan, you really just kind of soak it in and, you get to do a little bit more shopping, I would say. But I was just more interested in the details of the panels and, the people who were talking about whatever the various topics were. And then also, just some of the exclusive things, it just resonates a little bit deeper because you get to share it with so many more people out there.
Yeah. LA Comic-Con, it's one of the big ones. This is the show. Of course, people bring their best A game with cosplay. What was some of your favorite cosplay?
Oh my gosh, man. It was the gamut. There was anime from My Hero Academia and Bleach and Naruto. And then there was, all the DC characters you could ever dream of. Incredible Batman. There was like a Robert Pattinson Batman. I guess we can call him Pattinson. That was like so spot on. Tons of Wednesdays this year. Let's see. Really good Superman, really good Red Hoods. Just DC brought it. And then I was lucky enough to catch the Marvel meetup. And geez, like there was some Nightcrawlers in there, Doctor Stranges galore, from, Supreme Doctor Strange to Zombie Doctor Strange. It was like
the full multiverse.
They were so good.
Wow.
All multiverse. And like, the Spider-Man pointing meme where everybody's pointing at each other. There was like 20 of them doing it. It was like, I was blowing my mind. I felt like I was in the multiverse. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Did you feel underdressed, or did you feel like, what would you have gone as if you were a cosplayer?
Oh my gosh. I mean, since I have the metal hand, I thought about it. I'm like, next year I'm going as like the reverse side Bucky.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I'm going to do the right side metal arm. That's what's going down next year.
Nice.
Or Cable. Ooh, that'd be a good one too.
Or like,
Cable.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh man, there's some options
Yeah.
there. Damn.
There is some options. Nice.
3D printer. We got to get one.
Yeah. Oh, I've got one. Oh, I got access
word?
to that one. Okay, we're gonna work on it, guys. We're gonna work on this. Thomas is gonna look dope. All right, for next LA Comic Con, get ready. All right, yeah, there was so much. I mean, you shared so many pictures. Of course, you put it on your guys' Twitter account. We put it on ours, and just so amazing. LA Comic Con, they really did it up this year. Let's talk a little bit about some of the creators you got to talk to, because we showed some clips, and it's kind of insane.
Yeah, so the first one right off the bat that I was nervous because I'm a huge fan of his, and just with the King in Black recently, I was like, shoot, how do I go into this? But luckily enough, on Friday, the first day of Comic-Con, I was able to go in there and talk to Donny Cates.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here with Donny Cates, legendary writer for Marvel. How are you doing, man? How are you enjoying the con so far?
It's good. I mean, there's no one here, and we're just hanging out, doing this. So far, so good.
Absolutely. So you just started writing the whole. What's a character that you actually want to write that you haven't been able to?
At Marvel, I mean, I've been able to write him. I've not gotten my hands on like the proper Amazing Spider-Man. It's everyone's goal, right? Outside of Marvel, though, I mean, not to be a hack, but like everyone wants to write fucking Batman. I mean, it's Batman, dude. I mean, you gotta write Batman.
Yeah.
I mean,
anybody who could do it, I think you would be able to.
I think so, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. I have like a 5-year plan in my head that I've toyed with. And if I don't do it, I'm just gonna steal my own ideas and do an image and to make all the money. I guess. Yeah. So look out for a Batman knockoff from me pretty soon.
Right on.
Yeah. Got it, man. Thank you.
When I heard that you were talking to Donny Cates, when I saw the clip, I honestly was full on jealous because he's my favorite writer. He's so awesome. He does Thor right now, and he's killing it with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah, and the Incredible Hulk. He's doing a new Hulk series as well.
Squeaks is
looks
eating that up.
Exactly. Yeah, the animation on it looks incredible. So yeah, that was just a really fun one, and he was super cool. You think these guys, I mean, at least for me, are like on these huge pedestals because we just admire their work, but he was super cool and down to earth. And yeah, highly recommend everybody go meet Donny Cates whenever he's at a con.
Was he just at a booth or did you have to catch him on a run?
No, luckily they had an artist alley towards the back corner, the back left-hand corner in the main room. And, day one, he even says it. He's like, not a lot of people here right now. And I didn't know what I was going to get into, but I figured, hey, I'll walk around and kind of get the lay of the land. And he was in an artist alley. It was Donny Cates. There was an artist, Joshua Cassera, and another artist, Ariel Diaz, that I got to talk to. But they've all worked on major Marvel titles and some DC titles as well. So super, super cool.
Wow.
I love that first day of conventions. It's like a little bit more like behind the scenes almost because people can stop and talk for a while, and you get a little behind the scenes access.
Absolutely.
What were some of the other creators you talked to?
As I was going around and looking at the different booths and seeing, all the different merchandise you could buy, which I had to remind myself Christmas is coming up because I would have emptied my bank account on half the things I saw in there.
For sure.
Right. So I ended up running into an awesome movie reviewer. I mean, this guy is massive. And I'm sure a lot of the people that listen to our podcast know him, but a guy named Straw Hat Goofy.
What up, everybody? It's Thomas with the Joystick Show. We are with the man. Straw Hat Goofy is in the house.
What's up, y'all?
How's Comic-Con treating you?
It's been good so far. It's
Yeah?
only day one, and day one's always slower, but, tomorrow's going to be pretty crazy, and I'm ready for it.
Oh, my
I
God.
already bought a bunch of stuff.
I know, right?
Already bought a bunch of stuff.
Already spending too much money.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man.
Bag right here.
There you go. There you go. Well, hey, man, great seeing you. Follow this guy. I'm sure you already are.
Thank you.
But he's the realest dude, so yeah.
Thank you, man. Thanks,
All right.
seriously. You guys take care.
So can you tell him, hey, check out the Joystick Show and the Geek Freak
Yo,
Podcast?
check out the Joystick Show and the Geek Freak Podcast. It's amazing. It's dope. Seriously, I've been talking to this guy for like a whole 5 minutes. He's amazing. I want to hear more of this right now. So you guys got to do it every single day.
Appreciate you.
He was so cool in real life. He's just as cool as you imagine him being on his TikToks. And we got to just rap out for a little bit, just really have a one-on-one conversation. I kind of went up to him and said, hey, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. And, I followed you on TikTok when you had, I think it was 10,000 followers. Now he's got over 3 million, and he's got over 350 million likes on his videos. And crazy enough, I said, hey, one of the last videos you posted was really, really awesome, which was he was at the Black Panther Wakanda Forever premiere. And he's standing there and Ryan Coogler is walking up. I want to say it was like the white carpet. I think it was like purple. It was something interesting. It was an interesting color. And I was like, that was amazing. He recognized you. What was that like? And he was like, it was surreal. He's like, I couldn't believe this was happening. He's like, what that camera doesn't show you in that video was I turn around and I just like start crying. It was like one of the most, out of body, amazing experiences of my life. And I was like, dude, that's insane. He's like, I went up and I hugged my dad and he just told me, what an experience. I was like, what does your dad think about you doing this? And now this is your job. And you get to talk to this level of creators, directors, actors, be at movie premieres. And he was just like, man, my dad is like, we're really doing this now, huh? This is what life's like. And I was like, man, that has to be so crazy. So yeah, just an awesome guy. And he gave us a shout out, both to the Joystick Show and the Geek Freaks Podcast Network. And it's another guy I hope we can reconnect with in the future.
So one of those guys, you might not know the name, but you definitely recognize the face. He's definitely been across your TikTok.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you've listened to us, then you're listening to him. That is so dope. So after Straw Hat Goofy, who else are you talking to?
So the next one, and again, this was, just cruising around. I ended up standing in line for this, what I thought, I saw the X-Men, the animated series booth, right? And I saw this line and it was wrapping down the right-hand wall and it was zigzagging past the Ghostbusters car. And this giant marshmallow man from Ghostbusters. And, I thought it was a line to talk to them. Turns out it was for a Funko Pop from Naruto. And so, I waited probably in half an hour. And right before.
So you were waiting in line for that Funko Pop?
Yeah. But
unknowingly.
Yeah, totally. But I got
the
to
toy
talk
game over there is unreal. Like people.
Oh
were
my
there
gosh. And they had
specifically for those
exclusive.
collectibles.
Yeah, they had exclusive Funko Pops for this event, and that one was for a Naruto Funko Pop and a Riddler one. And as cool as that would have been to get that, I still would have waited in that line to talk to the next people that I got to talk to, which was Larry Houston, who is now going to be the showrunner and executive producer for X-Men the Animated Series 97, and also Eric Lewald and Julia Lewald, who were producers and writers on the first season of the X-Men animated series back in the 90s. So just really, really incredible.
Larry, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, sir.
Right on. I am ecstatic that you're coming back to do X-Men 97. It's just amazing. That was the comic cartoon that got me into comic books. How do you feel about coming back to X-Men 97?
I feel very good about it. It's, we left the show on a cliffhanger, a nice one. Xavier goes off with his girlfriend, and
right.
Magneto comes into the group.
Definitely.
And so, like the next iteration of the show, they're going to pick up where we left off, and we could only do stories up to the point of 1997.
Right.
So from 1997 till today,
right.
There's a whole boatload of stories that they can play with.
There definitely
and that's
are.
what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Were you surprised about getting the call to come back and do it?
Yes, very much surprised, because usually when people do a revival of a show,
right.
They never call back to the original people who do it. They just get all brand new people. So
exactly.
When they called me, they called the Lee Walls.
Yeah, absolutely. I just talked to them. They're amazing.
Yes.
So much personal stories there. Definitely.
Yes.
Did you get the call from Kevin Feige?
I got the call from not Kevin Feige, but someone close to him.
All right.
Yes.
Right on. Well, again, so excited. This cartoon changed my life, put me on the path I'm on. So thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see what you guys do with it in X-Men 97.
Very much. Thank you, man. I always have to thank the fans, because even though you didn't know it, there was never a guarantee of a season 2.
Right.
So I have to thank you guys, because the fans are what gave us a season 2, because nobody believed in the show but the fans.
Absolutely.
And that's how everything started.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Really cool part. Like, while I was waiting there and I talked to Eric and Julia, they were telling me some of the things that inspired the first season. They were telling me one of the episodes in season 1, they had just had a son. And because of their son's birth, it influenced the episode. And, we'll find the clip of it somewhere. But they were able to write the episode where Storm takes in this kid based on their child just being born, and that their kids' lives influenced, a lot of that episodes in that series. And they were just really just so down to earth and so thankful, because they were like, we never knew if season 2 was ever going to come. We weren't promised a season 2. We were like flying by the seat of our pants, hoping that season 1 was going to be a hit so that we would go on to make this show. And, it turns out to be what it is. But yeah, just as a little tidbit, Eric Lewald has, like 500 different projects credited to his name. He's got Emmys. He's been a producer, a showrunner on multiple different series. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the massive ones, but any 90s cartoon you can think of, like, he had a little bit of a part in it.
So freaking cool.
So just an amazing.
We got 90s cartoons were the
Houston.
best. We got so freaking lucky. Like,
For
I feel
sure.
bad for these nerds these days. They're like, oh, Bluey. Yeah, you don't know nothing until you see Batman the Animated Series and it makes you cry.
Yeah.
We had it good.
We did. We truly
With
did.
X-Men 97 coming out, I got an idea. What if we review that Storms Adopts a Kid episode right beforehand as kind of like a hype episode, getting ready for X-Men 97? I think that's a good way to kind of get hyped up on that. And then maybe we'll
Nice.
talk to the creators again. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Larry Houston, last little tidbit. I asked him how he found out about getting called back. And he said, I asked him, hey, did Kevin Feige call you?
Yeah.
And you could probably see it on the clip also, but he was saying, not Kevin Feige, but someone very close to Kevin Feige was the one that called me and asked me to come back to do the show.
She-Hulk.
I was like,
Walt Disney.
yeah, oh my gosh.
Well, it's just
Very
yeah,
Feige.
frozen heads on the phone with
Brother.
him. Guess what,
Yeah.
boss?
yeah, exactly.
man.
Like Futurama taking
Yeah. Oh man. Oh god, to get the call from Kevin Feige or even his assistant, I'd be very happy with that. You
Oh,
guys
yeah,
need a
yeah.
podcast. Let me know, Marvel. We're on board. That is so dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and any other creators you want to talk about before we get into Sandlot?
Yeah. Last creator of the Night on Friday was this guy, Keithan Jones. He created his own comic book company that he started making. I mean, he said the idea was in his head at 14, and now he's a lot older, not too much older. But he said he was in his 40s, and he created this comic book called The Power Knights. The story sounds incredible. The art on it is so good looking. Yeah, just an awesome content creator. And I'm a little biased, but he's a San Diego guy. So definitely check out his stuff. But yeah, his network is called KID. I think it says The Kid in Us Never Dies, I think is what it stands for. But yeah, so Keithan Jones and the Power Knights, definitely would check that one out.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, this art is sick. I'm looking at it right now.
Mhm.
Really nice.
Do you find yourself reading
Check it
indie
out.
comics very much? Any of you guys?
You know, a lot more now.
Mhm.
Now that I've kind of been tipped on to like what a comic book really is to read like nowadays. There was a huge gap of time I wasn't reading comic books, and now that I am back into it so heavily, I find myself, if the art animation's good or if I know what the story's going to be, oh, I'm there. Like I'm happily will buy an indie comic book to like dive into it. And after this weekend, there's a lot more indie comic books I'm going to be buying and reading.
No, I think the only like quote unquote indie comic books I read was like Image, when Image wasn't as popular as like
Yeah.
it was like kind of in the shadow of DC and Marvel. And then when DC and Marvel did that like amalgam comic series run, that was something that was super interesting. I guess it's not very indie, but it was adjacent.
I mean, I still want a Dark Claw tattoo. That was so
Yeah,
dope.
Doctor Strange
Yeah.
trade all day. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I think indie comics is definitely something I want to start getting back into. I was like reading a bit of like what is that Berserk when it came out and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of fell off a bit too. But hearing all that, especially this guy, Keithan Jones, like this art looks really good, and I'm definitely one that art is like the first thing that draws me in. So this art looks really cool. I think I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. I feel like with
Power Knights.
indie creators, indie comic book writers and artists, they're so passionate about their work. It's not like a 9 to 5 for them. It's like, this is everything that I've got right now. It's on this one project. So they're working on it and they're willing to share the step by step with you. For Marvel, generally, we know when the next Spider-Man comes out, here it is what it looks like. Hopefully you guys like it. But when we're talking about these indie creators, we've talked to them on our podcast and your guys' podcast. Their dedication's next level, and they'll show you all the nuts and bolts. And that just you don't find something like that. And then of course the fans are way more dedicated too because they're part of it more. Like I think Image,
Right.
you're shouting out the 90s Image. Yeah, 90s Image was the way you went with as an indie comic creator back then, but nowadays it's Kickstarter, and still Images out there. We've talked to a few Image guys, and it's just like that's the big time now, which is so crazy. I remember when it came out, it was like, oh man, these are the rebels, they're going against the machine, and now they're part of the machine. Sounds crazy. But
For sure.
I love that you got to talk to some indie creators, man. They're just super dedicated to their work.
Yeah, it's a different
Yep,
style
yep.
of passion too. Like to push your work and be behind it and have that faith and have that willpower. Not to say that, DC and Marvel haven't done those things, but to see individuals doing it now amidst all those, megaliths, it's I don't know, it makes you inspired, makes you want to do stuff.
Right. Also, you like what is it? I used to be really bit into I don't know. I'm gonna say it. Jonan Vasquez, the guy who did Invader Zim.
Oh yeah,
I used to like reading like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and his other like Squee. Like I really loved like the humor in it too. So I really like that about indie comics where it's not necessarily just superheroes and whatnot. You get like these weird type of like funny stories you can get, and you can only get in a comic book format. Like I can't imagine Johnny the Homicidal Maniac being like a movie and cartoon and being as funny. Like you can just like you have a lot of liberties in comics, so it's really cool.
Last shout out for the indie artists is I want to talk about Artist Elite. This guy Zen and Sal. They were fantastic. The animation looks incredible on it. I mean, some of the characters already to me look super iconic. And they did some Jim Lee inspired homage covers that looks incredible. So definitely go check out Artist Elite, and you can find them at artistelitecomics.com or at Artist Elite Comics on Instagram.
As soon as you name drop Jim Lee, it's like, damn, son. He is just like his Batman drawings and stuff like that is like, oh my God. I dare the Mona Lisa to look as good as this or whatever, Mona Lisa, whatever. Like, this needs to be in museums.
Yeah, Jim Lee's a man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then you got to talk to the Sandlot boys. What was that all like?
Oh my gosh. So talk about a absolute like fever dream, out of body experience. But, that opportunity came up, right? And got to go to their booth, which was right next to X-Men, the animated series too. So I was just like, I love this corner. But we got to talk to Victor DiMattia, Grant Gelt, and Shane Odetsky. And man, just incredible. We really got to talk to them about, what was it like to film The Sandlot? Were you on a set or were you on location? They got to answer that question. We got to rap out about the carnival scene with the Big Chief. And what was it like?
Awesome.
Yeah, what was it like to spin around the circle and then get sick and puke? And, they were young kids at this time. And so they were like, we didn't know any better. We were just having fun. And, the last thing was, hey, did you guys imagine it was going to be this big some 30 years later? And of course, they were like, we had no idea. We were just kids having fun. And, that all gets answered in that interview, as well as the main point of all of it, which was their non-profit called Play Forever. Oh. And Play Forever is just an incredible organization that they felt inspired to talk about and start because of their experience through The Sandlot. So, right, they were saying, hey, in the movie, they couldn't buy a baseball because it was 97 cents or 98 cents. And they still see it with kids these days. They can't afford to buy equipment. They can't get gloves. They can't get bats. They can't get these things that they need to play these sports to better their lives and then get them on a better path. So Play Forever is an organization that they created to help these kids get the equipment they need or get opportunities to play sports so that then they can get on better tracks for their lives and improve their lives.
What's going on, everybody? It is Thomas from the Joystick Show and the Geek Freaks Podcast Network. I am so lucky to be here in the presence of Shane Odetsky. Did I say it right?
Close, very close.
Oh, we even practiced and everything. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Who played Tommy Timmons. We got Victor DiMattia.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
That was actually perfect.
All right. Nice. Okay, first try. Who played Timmy Timmons. And we are also here with Grant Gelt, who played Bertram Grover Weeks. Day 2 of Comic-Con. How you guys doing?
Oh, dude, it's been a blast. We've been here. We were here yesterday all day. We've been here since early morning, and we'll be here all day tomorrow. And it's just, dude, it's super fun, man. This is our second time at LA Comic-Con, and it's just a blast seeing all the fans and meeting everybody, dude. It's great.
Right on. Yeah. Did you?
No, it's just the best. It's overwhelmingly amazing.
Right on.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. So I want to get into a fun question right off the bat. So one thing that's always kind of pondered for me in watching The Sandlot, which is such a classic and iconic movie, was where was The Sandlot actually located? Was it on a set or was it on location?
It was in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was actually just outside of Salt Lake. It's a town called Glendale.
Okay.
Utah. And that's where The Sandlot itself is. But everything else was kind of around there. The Vincent Drugstore,
Nice.
the pool was in Ogden. So they're all kind of around there. We filmed a couple things on a soundstage, like the camp out scene in the treehouse was on a soundstage. But that was also in Utah. And then the interiors of the houses, like the Smalls house and Benny's bedroom, were on soundstage. But that was all in Utah. I think the only thing that wasn't in Utah was the Dodger Stadium at the beginning and the end.
Right on. Oh, that's awesome. Definitely.
Yeah.
So did you guys actually play for fun after you shot your scenes, or how did you fill your time while you were actually there between filming?
Yeah, we were kids. We were known for hiding and playing in the treehouse whenever we weren't filming. So when the cameras were off and we weren't needed for a scene, we were being kids, man. We were having fun. It was the best summer ever.
That's awesome. That's so great. I got to talk about it because it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, the carnival scene. How long did that scene actually take? How long were you on the ride? And did you actually get sick?
Big cheese. You take that one.
Yeah, because this was your scene.
That was a long night. My voice sounds a lot like it did then because I had to yell "chaw" like 50 times. David kept saying, "Bigger, louder, do it." And then by the time we got the take, I had like no voice left. So that was rough. That was a fun scene to do. It was one of the only 2 night shoots that we had. So being a kid, like staying up late, pretty cool. The ride was a lot of fun. We all sat in the same seat. So they put the camera, mounted it on the front, and then they swapped us out, and they swapped the background actors out. They just ripped on that ride all night. I think the worst part about it was getting out of the clothes that were covered in the fake puke, though.
Right.
Because it was soupy. So that was, and they saved that part until the end. So like after a long night of filming, they were like, cool, now we're gonna cover you guys in this stuff and send you home.
Right on. Do you remember actually what that stuff was? Was it actual soup?
It was pea soup and oatmeal, and maybe a third thing.
I feel like there was a third thing, but I can never remember.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, disgusting.
They were really mean to us that
Yeah.
night because the tobacco, what they told me it was beef jerky, which I love. So I took this huge handful of it, shoved it in my mouth. They didn't tell us it was mixed in with a bunch of black licorice because they wanted that immediate reaction of us going like, yeah, oh, this is terrible. So between that and the vomit, one night.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, it sounds actually
Got
sickening.
their revenge on us.
Well, right on. Well, last question before we shift gears. Did you guys ever think that this movie would be this iconic some 30 years later?
Not a chance. We knew we made something good and fun and for everyone, but it having the lasting power it has it's very much a gift. It's amazing. We're very lucky to be a part of that. It's a gift that keeps on giving, you know? It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. Well, let's get to the important stuff. Let's talk about Play Forever. Okay, super cool, awesome organization that you guys are creating. It looks incredible. Why did you guys start this nonprofit?
Oh man,
I'll jump in. You know, this is something, Play Forever is something that we've been talking about for a minute. Victor and I started talking about how we can start to use this opportunity that we have, and the love that people have for the film. The fact that people still want to come out and meet us and talk to us. How we can start to shift the narrative and identify with this film differently as adults. Right? So we spent the last 30 years talking about the movie. We love talking about the movie. We'll talk about that movie all day long. But we're adults now, and the film has impact. So how do we use that impact in whatever way that we can to make an impact with the current generation and put systems in place that the film will continue to live on by the impact that it has by helping future generations throughout sports. Excuse me.
No problem.
So the data really shows that youth who are involved in sports, in team play, have a better chance of success in life, and it's largely through the lessons that they learn. It was a different time back then in the 60s. Then 90 cents made a difference. Today, a basketball, a baseball, football makes a difference still. So there's so much work that needs to be done across the spectrum of sports, whether it's lack of equipment, lack of safe places to play, food insecurity, scholarship inequity. There's just so much. So why not use the opportunity that we have while we have it to start to give back?
That's incredible. Yeah, such an awesome answer. And yeah, in a way, you kind of answered some of my next question, which was, so tell me about some of the benefits that you've seen in some of these kids' lives. Yeah.
oh man, I mean, you know, we're still really early on in the process. So, and we sat and talked to all the kids for a long time, and took their questions and stuff, and just kind of talked about, you know, opportunities in life, and whether it's in the entertainment industry or in sports or whatever, and that, you know, there's the you know, the starting athletes, there's the pros, there's, you know, in movies, there's the Marvel superhero, there's the leading, you know, man, the leading lady, but behind that is hundreds or thousands of people that make all that work, you know?
Totally.
So in sports, you got the front office and you got, you know, media and you got photographers and groundskeepers and just everything that goes into that.
Whole production.
That like, if you love something, that there's a place for you there. You know, whether it's in entertainment or sports or anywhere, that there's a place for you.
Yeah.
And you know, just seeing how receptive those kids were. Actually, as we were leaving, one of the adults that worked there at the Boys and Girls Club came outside to, you know, thank us for coming, and she said, "I've never seen the kids that engaged." And you know, I think a big part of that is like because they identify with us from the film, they're willing to listen.
Absolutely.
Which I think for kids, just a willingness to listen is a big thing.
Oh my God, yeah.
So even just something as small as that, like, is for us to be able to just go out and kind of talk to these kids and tell them, like, you know, there's opportunity there if you want it.
Right.
Makes a big difference.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And I think that's just incredible how you're approaching it and your direction in affecting these kids' lives. It's awesome. How can people support you guys and this organization? Where can we go?
Oh, well, the easiest thing is you can go on playforever.org. You can donate. There's we have shirts and hats and sweatshirts and stuff like that you can order, and 100% of the proceeds goes to all the works that we do. You can follow us on our social media. It's I think our Instagram is @playforever_org. Someone took someone already had to Play Forever. But yeah, just like go and follow us and like share posts and get the word out and just help us, you know, kind of raise the awareness.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, make sure everybody out there to go follow this organization and give back to just an incredible nonprofit that's affecting kids' lives. Thank you guys so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Any final words that you'd like to share?
Thanks just for taking the time to talk to us about it and getting the message out. It really means a lot.
Right on. Appreciate it.
For love all these years.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
It's cool.
That's awesome.
Playforever.org.
Yeah. Yep, it's playforever.org. Exactly.
Fantastic.
So wait, what were they eating? In that big chew? Like, what was it?
So he actually said it was beef jerky, but it was mixed with black licorice. So he said, when I put it in my mouth, I legit almost got sick. He was like, right there, he was like, it was disgusting. He's like, I didn't really have to act like I was sick because I really felt sick.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, when they were spinning around, they were all actually in one seat, and that they would switch out each kid to that seat and then switch out the extras that were sitting behind them. And they said they were on it for hours.
Wow.
Just filming
that alone will make you sick. And then you're eating like licorice flavored beef. Like, what? That's crazy.
Sounds delicious. Just star anise. It's just Chinese 5 spice on there.
Hey, just let me act. I'll pretend it tastes awful. Like,
I wonder if they would do that today. Like, I think there would be too many people like, no, that's against the kids. Like, they don't feel comfortable or some shit. And it's like, no, back then they're just like, shove it down his throat. He'll throw up on his own. It'll be perfect for the movie.
No, yeah. Well, like that was the crazy part. They were saying like it's not like it was hard for them to do because they were just having fun.
That's so cool.
They were like what little kids do. They were in the park. They were joking around with each other. They even, later on, I also was able to join their panel and they talked about it. Like they got in fights with each other. The one, I think Shane punched somebody in the face who Shane played Timmy Timmons. And then the next day they were like best friends again because that's just what kids do. Like it was that kind of relationship they had.
So cool. Man.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah.
To think of how much that movie had an impact on all of us is crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
definitely. What were we gonna say?
I was just thinking about the quintessential like hangout outside. That's kind of what we did throughout like middle and like early high school, even late high school, I would say. But some of the thoughts I was having, especially because of Sandlot being like this, almost like a lot of the other movies we've seen, like Little Rascals, right? Like in the time of like reboots and things like that, are we going to see reboots or spin-offs? And one of my thought processes went straight to the dog, because the dog was such a huge character as like them overcoming their own fears and then kind of helping build a little bit more of their togetherness within the film in itself. But like, I imagine if that dog was different, it would have changed the dynamic of the the movie in itself, but I always think like, oh man, imagine if it was just like a rabid Sharpei that was trying to murder them. He's so tiny, so fierce. But man, Sandlot was awesome.
The Beast. Yeah.
Yeah. They told a great story about the Beast, that it was the sweetest, most well-trained dog. And the kid who played, shoot, I'm forgetting what the main kid's name is right now, Smalls.
Yes. Oh.
The kid who played Smalls, now he's the man. He said
Victor
he was not.
D'Amadio?
No, not Victor.
Tom Geary.
Yeah. Tom Geary, yes. So Tom Geary was saying that he wasn't nervous about the dog at all, except for the final scene where the dog had to come up and lick his face. And he's like, they put baby sauce or like baby applesauce all on my face. And that dog came up to me with its massive head and started licking my cheek. And he said that was the only time he got nervous. He's like, that dog could put my whole head in its mouth. Oh my God. So yeah, he said that was a little nerve wracking, which I thought was pretty funny.
Dog applesauce facial. Interesting.
Yeah, that dog looks adorable though, right? When you watch it back now, you're like, it's just the camera angles. But when you're a kid, you're like, that dog is like, is that dog even real? It's like a lion.
Yeah.
Like it's so massive.
When you go to that black and white scene and then they have those two robbers that come in the junkyard and then the dog eats them and drags them away like a horror film. Yeah. It scared the crap out of me when I was younger.
Yeah.
Cool. You're talking about the Sandlot panel. What were some of the other panels you saw there?
Yeah. So another panel that I got to see, which was really, really cool. And I will say I'm a little biased here because I actually am an investor in this company, but it's called Legion M. It is a fan-owned entertainment company, and they have some incredible movies coming out in 2023. I actually got to talk and ask a question to the director, Adam Siegel, and he was just kind of ecstatic about this movie. And some of the big names that are going to be in it is Simon Pegg, Minnie Driver. Let's see, what's the other one? Christopher Lloyd. And one thing I got to ask him was, I heard there's a rumor that Neil Gaiman is actually the voice of the mongoose in the movie. Is that true? And so he told me right there, he's like, it's no longer a rumor. Neil Gaiman is the voice of the mongoose in the movie. And he went into a whole story talking about getting Neil Gaiman on the phone, rehearsing with him, letting him, rehearse the voice for him that would be the mongoose. And he's like, I basically had to do nothing. Like Neil Gaiman was putting on a clinic. Yeah. He's that good, so
that's
pretty
awesome.
Amazing. It's a dark comedy coming out next year again, and it looks so funny. The trailer was amazing. The trailer's not going to be out for a while. So man, keep your eye out for it. The movie is called Nandor, Fodor, and the Talking Mongoose, and it looks good.
That's awesome. Other than Neil Gaiman just producing great content, like he does have a great voice as well. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. The Sandman Audible is incredible. Like so just good. That. Oh my gosh. I wish he could just read the newspaper to me. I love it.
He does the intro for the Netflix series too. And it was just like, oh, there's Neil. You could tell it's him. It's so good.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So good.
What was another panel?
So we also had, let's see. I got to see Tom Kenny, who voices SpongeBob. That guy is every bit as animated as the voice.
That's so cool.
Like he was bouncing around. He did the SpongeBob voice, of course. And I don't know if he ever answered a question from the audience. Like he took questions and I don't know if he answered them at all because he was going on these crazy vocal tangents. And he went from like SpongeBob to the announcer, the 20 minutes later. He would do that voice into the other like newscaster voice. And he was just bouncing around the stage. Tom Kenny is incredible. If you ever have a chance to watch him do his thing, like YouTube it because that guy is incredible.
I love SpongeBob, and Tom Kenny. He's on TikTok too sometimes, and we'll just like randomly SpongeBob it out, and it's just like, I mean, it's so crazy. He's very talented. He's also in the show live action too, because there's a special episodes where he play himself like as a pirate or whatever, and like as a fan watching SpongeBob, and so it's just like, oh, good. I'm glad he's on this one, so he can get his face on camera finally. He's a voice acting god. The guy's amazing. Cool.
Incredible. Yeah. And the way he can just bounce between all the different voices, I'm like, it's like there's 3 people living in you. It like doesn't make sense. But yeah, another great one was the Dragon Ball Z panel. I got to see Sean Schemmel, Sony Straight, and Damon Mills. Sean plays the voice of Goku. Sony Straight played Frieza, and Damon Mills played Krillin. And so they, were doing their characters' voices and talking about some of the inspiration for the new movie that just came out, the Dragon Ball Superhero. And one interesting little tidbit that I heard from Sean on Goku was that throughout the years that he's voiced him, every time Goku has powered up or reached a new level, he's tried to change the voice a little bit. So he's like, I've always tried to find a little bit of some extra power or gravitas for it that would resonate with Goku reaching a new level, which I thought was so cool. On
cool
the
detail,
side
damn.
of
Yeah.
I know that was so. I was like, oh my god, like, and I like we had talked about on the Joystick show, like I think you saw it, Scott, but now I like it makes me regret it so much that I wasn't able to catch that movie in theaters. Like,
Yeah.
So, but they
That was good.
Totally, sorry. And they also asked Sony straight if he ever would want to see Frieza become a hero, because Dragon Ball Z has had a long line of villains that have turned into heroes. And he said, nope, I don't think so. He's like, I just want him to keep being a villain, and that we can expect Frieza to have a big arc in the future where he also powers up.
Oh, so he's kind of like the Frieza's like the Red Army. He just never goes away and is always a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Empire of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh
That's
man,
dope.
that's pretty much dope.
So Beyond Gold, I mean, he powered up quite a bit last time they fought him.
Past booster gold status,
cool.
yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. We get to see Sean Astin and Elijah Wood.
That's crazy.
Turns out they are every bit as friends off screen as they are on screen. They were talking about how actually Sean Astin went into this whole spiel about playing video games, and apparently he's a massive gamer. So he loves playing with his kids. Elijah Wood, not so much. They do have a Wordle game that they play between each other, and that them and the two other hobbits are still in a group chat together. And yeah,
That's
and then
cool.
they try to beat each other, filling out the New York Times crossword puzzle or playing Wordle against each other. So it just that seeing that relationship, and you think this just must be a movie thing, seeing it in real life, and just so cool. They're like, man, I love that they're they're friends in real life like they are on screen. It was just so awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool, because you hear about people after doing movies, they kind of go separate ways. They haven't seen them since that movie, and you think like they're probably best friends forever. And it's cool when you really hear that. Like, yeah, we still talk.
That's so
like,
cool.
that's awesome.
It's what you hope for too when you're watching the movie, and it's like, oh man, I just hope these guys are really best friends. And I remember seeing that like Orlando Bloom also hangs out with them sometimes, and it's just so freaking cool. They do a lot with the Colbert nowadays, because like Stephen Colbert does his own show, and he's a huge, one of the biggest Lord of the Rings fans. He's actually in The Hobbit, and so they've been on his show a few times as a group and stuff, and it's just like so freaking neat.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
It's so
It takes me right back to Lambus bread. I don't know. I feel like it'd be funny if I was super into cosplay and I just dress up as Galadriel, and then I always have Lambus bread on me. I just give them Lambus bread every Comic-Con they go to.
Yeah,
and make them eat it.
I thought you were gonna dress up as Lambo's
Oh
bread.
no, I guess we could dress up as Lambus bread. Eat me, eat me.
Yeah.
That would be the most. Oh, you'd have to explain that costume to everybody. What are you, a
We'd have to
tortilla
just
chip?
have
No.
more people eating
Yeah. You just need to have the leaves sticking out from every side, and like the like the little wrap all undone. Be
Dude,
perfect.
that'd be so funny.
Oh
Yes.
my god,
I'm very satiating.
this is the most
Here you go,
random.
Master Frodo.
Yeah.
We also got to watch the Boys panel and the Mandalorian, which was awesome as well. Laz Alonso was there, who plays Mother's Milk, Tomer Capone, who plays Frenchie, and Karen Fukuhara, who plays Kimiko. Really cool. Laz is hilarious. He told a behind the scenes about the Hero-gasm episode about getting splooged on.
Nice.
It is definitely not PG in any way, but for the female excrement, he had given suggestions to Eric Kripke, who, the showrunner for The Boys, and, they were filming the Hero-gasm episode. He went out back to the trailer, and there was these VFX guys, and they were cracking up. They're like, I think we got the stuff, just right. I think we got the color and the consistency perfect. And he's like, here, check it out. And Laz goes, Oh, no. That's not what I signed up for. He's like, this is what I sent to Eric Kripke. It's like more human. It's not as thick. It's clear. I'm not putting that on me. And they're like, well, that's what Kripke approved. So you are. And he's like, damn you, Kripke, you got me again. So he was
Also
able
licorice beef based.
yeah, also exactly. Yeah. So that was great. Karen Fukuhara had a great story about, because she just came out with a video game called Callisto Protocol that she's in. And she was like, it's one of the first roles that I've gotten recently where I'm actually able to talk. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Such a good point.
Besides, yeah, in the Suicide Squad, right? She wasn't able to talk there.
Even in Bullet
And
Train,
then in
she
The
wasn't really
Boys.
speaking either.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so really crazy. So yeah, she said, check out Callisto Protocol, which looks awesome. I definitely want to get that game as well. And then her and Frenchie showed off their secret handshake, which, I think they do in The Boys. Well, they did it for everybody and people lost their mind.
Nice.
I love Frenchie in that show too. He's like so much more complex than in season 1. He's so dope. God damn.
Yeah, I was surprised he actually has like an accent, like a French accent, but he definitely like Frenches it up for The Boys,
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Pepe Le Pew and shit. Oh man. Any other panels that you went to?
Just want to give a quick shout out. New rock stars were hilarious. I'm sure most of you guys are already watching them on YouTube.
What's going on, guys? Thomas here. We are with the new rock stars. We got E.A. Voss, Jessica Clemens here. How do you guys feel about Comic-Con? What's been the coolest part for you guys?
Oh my god, I went to the Hot Topic stand and I waited in line for an hour and a half, but it was worth it. It was perfect. I loved it.
Right on. What about you, Eric?
I just got here today, so meeting all of you guys was my favorite part.
Right on. Yeah, everybody.
Man, that was a funny show. Just from the suggestions people were throwing at them, they kind of had to eat some crow too on their suggestions. They're like, we thought Mephisto, the Mephisto joke was running heavy about how many times they had, announced that in a YouTube video, and then it never happened. So Eric had to eat some crow up there, which was pretty good. But they did an impromptu cosplay competition. And then they did a game where if they thought something was going to happen or not. So if you thought something was going to happen, you threw up a green flag. If you thought it was not going to happen, you threw up a red flag, which was one of the questions was, do you think the animated series, X-Men, the animated series, is going to be a better show than What If Season 2? And so half of them said yes, half of them said no. And then they had to explain their reasoning. The other thing was, yeah, I know, it was such a good question. Do you think Scott Lang is going to die in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? And majority of them said no. And then the last thing I'm trying to think about here was, I'm not really remembering right now.
Well, that's a good question right there. Do you guys, let's do it right here. Do you guys think Scott Lang's going to die in the next Ant-Man? What do you think?
I have a feeling he could.
Yeah.
Because we saw in Phase 4, so many mantles were being passed on to so many characters, right? I think it just depends on if Paul Rudd really enjoys being Ant-Man. Because if he is, there's always a possibility he shows up in Secret Wars. But if he wants to take a break, you kill him off, you have the Wasp and Stature who can carry on.
Right, that's what I'm thinking too. If he dies, it's a pretty big hit, for the audience. So that could send oh, Kang's not fucking around.
Yeah.
One of your favorites is dead. So yeah, he could. I don't want him to. I like him, but
I think I would go on the end of maybe he has a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice that we don't know whether or not he is or isn't. Maybe he stays in the quantum realm for some reason, and then Stature and Wasp kind of get to it. But I don't know. I feel like Hank and Michelle Pfeiffer's characters, they play a part, but I think if we lose them, especially how much they mean to the character base, that might be just as daunting as if we lost Scott Lang himself. But that's some nice speculation. I like it.
Yeah. I hate for us to lose it. And if they're gonna do a sacrifice, what we haven't gotten that's a real comic book trope is someone losing their powers. And so maybe we can get that, because last time we think we had that was Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man, I think 3. He started off that way. Or something like that. But yeah, losing their powers is something that happens in every comic book. Every hero goes through it, especially Thor. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Thor lost his hammer. Actually, yeah, we did have that in the MCU. But yeah, that's something that I think would be good. Like maybe he's just a dad now, because God, Paul Rudd is just a goofy dad is the best. It's my favorite part of this character. So hopefully we get that.
Yeah, it would be a shame to really lose. Like, all these Marvel movies, like they have comedy in it. Some land harder, or land better than others. Paul Rudd always lands for me because he's just genuinely funny. So it would be a shame to lose that.
Yeah, he's fun to have. All right, so the panels sound like they're pretty amazing over at LA Comic Con. What was some of your favorite parts? Like, again, this is your first real big convention, and it's definitely your first as, press. So what was some of your favorite parts of this Comic Con?
I think it was just interacting with the different fans and also talking to the different artists about interacting with the fans. Because, they make these projects in a bubble, right? They, go on location or go to a set. They film for months, they work on these things, and then they don't know how people are going to receive it till after it's out. So I think them getting to interact and hear about them interacting with the fans was just so awesome. Yeah. I mean, even from cosplayers or the comic book writers, that perspective too, it's like, this is what they do it. It's like, obviously it's their job, but I think the thrill of interacting with people who love these things that you made has to be so exciting. And then on the flip side, with the fans, getting to enjoy, the things that we all love so much together as a group, it was just so incredible, and seeing people dress up as what you feel like is kind of on the spectrum of characters, man, there were so many Chainsaw Man and My Hero Academia and Bleach. I was so excited because, I think anime for us has been something that we've really kind of gotten into as a resurgence, and it's a hit. People love it. So that was so cool. Oh my God. I love the cosplay. The vendors have such cool merch, again, with toys and collectibles. Like if I had $1 million, I probably would have spent it at the Sideshow collectible booth because it was so many good collectibles in there. The whole Funko Pop thing. There was Funko Pops that were way out of my budget, but I wanted all of them. And just hearing people talk about what their favorite part about the Comic-Con was made me love it even more.
Yeah. So, and Artist Alley is always nice because then you get people actually like making the art themselves. So you see, again, it's kind of like with indie comics where it's just like, hey, I'm put all my time and effort into this painting or drawing or something like that. And you're like, yes, here's the money. It's much more important to me to have that than it is some poster at Walmart. That's actually real art right there. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, definitely. Yeah. Quick shout outs too. We also got to see Michael Nathanson from the Playing Dead podcast. Really cool. He's been an actor for a long time. I think in our genre, he was in The Punisher as a cop, but he's been in a handful of different movies and shows. And he actually got to interview Keith David. His social media handle is called Mr. Silverthroat. But trust me, like if you've seen a picture of this guy, you know exactly who he is. He just has that super smooth, sultry, deep voice. And they got to do a podcast live on air. So
as we like to do on our show, we talk to actors, creators about what it means to play dead. What is that like? What is it like to take on a project, you're going to die. None of us know what it's like to die, right? Or what happens in that moment. We can't really report back. So as an actor, as an artist, how do you prepare? How do you handle a death scene?
Well, it all depends on how it's written. Is it supposed to be, sentimental? Do we care about the guy? I love those moments when it really is, supposed to be, somewhat touching, because I know a friend of mine, his mother died in his arms, and he talked about the drama of life, watching her take her last breath, and what's that like? Now I've never seen anybody expire. When my own mother died, I thought, God, I wish that I wanted to be there so bad, as if my being there would have stopped her from dying. Now, that ain't true, because God didn't ask me, and neither did she, But there's something about, especially when we see it well played, it's a wonderful moment because you care about that life. I mean, when, it makes very real to me that every life on the planet, everyone in this room today, means something to somebody. The world would not be the same without you. And your passing through this life is going to mean something to somebody at some point. And it's kind of wonderful to get to explore that, whatever that is.
It was really, really cool, and I would check it out. That's a new podcast called Playing Dead.
What do you think about? Have you ever seen a podcast recorded live like that before?
Just ours.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually, because I've
Yo.
actually especially the Dollop is my favorite podcast. So I've actually gone to like San Francisco and stuff like that, and here, San Francisco's like an hour away, so it's not a big deal. But so I've actually like paid to sit in an auditorium and watch a live podcast recording, and it's hard to explain how freaking fun it can be. Like it's a blast, especially when like it's two comedians. They know how to have a good timing and stuff like that. What did you think as an audience member to a podcast recording instead of a participant in a podcast recording?
Well, I thought they did a fantastic job. The hardest thing for me was I wanted to jump in there.
Yeah.
But it was really really good. And, seeing two actors interview each other and really play to the crowd, like Keith David was like asking the question to the audience. One of his breakout movies was The Thing. And so he talked about that process of being in the thing and the monster. And at the end, does he die or does he not die? And the way he interacted with the crowd was so freaking awesome. But I think this is also like a really good segue because one of my favorite podcasts that normally records live is called Fat Man Beyond,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the two hosts are Kevin Smith, who is a legendary creator from Clerks and, Jay and Silent Bob, Mallrats. He wasn't there, but his co-host, Mark Bernardin, was. And Drake and Scott can attest to this. I've been a huge fan of Mark Bernardin's for years. I started listening to their podcast like 4 years ago. And just because they were talking about everything I wanted to hear, comics, movies, shows, this pop culture that they had also like intertwined with and helped create, but they were also just talking about it as fans. And so getting to talk to Mark was truly a highlight for me as well, because he just feels so wise. He feels like he's this expert writer, and I got to tell him kind of my story and my journey with my friends getting here in podcasting and the Geek Freaks Podcast Network. But also I got to just rap out with him about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And it was just surreal.
That's so cool.
I was like, hey, how did you like it? And he was like, I loved it. He was like, from a story beat and a story about dealing with grief, it was fantastic. He said when it got down to the roots of being a superhero movie, it wasn't necessarily his favorite, but he gave really intelligent, detailed reasons why. And anytime you can make one of your heroes kind of chuckle, it was like just so incredible. So, oh man, if you're not listening to Fat Man Beyond as well, like check that out. We got to try to get Mark Bernardin on because I think he would be incredible. Yeah.
Man, I was happy you got to see him, but I definitely had some FOMO when I saw that picture. I got to look who I got to talk to. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
I know. Yeah, he's got a new movie coming out next year too, called Splinter, and he also has a new comic book coming out as well. So keep your eye out for that. But it's basically a fictional and dramatized version of Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
so,
wow. I want that so bad. That's dope.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. What?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So, yeah, really, really cool.
Do we have any idea of when that comic book's coming out?
He said it should come out in spring, hopefully, but he's not sure.
Oh, so not
he said I asked him, I said, hey, what's the next thing you're working on that you can talk about? And so that was it, the comic book. He said he's finalizing things for the movie. And then he has some other shows, I think for Amazon Prime or Hulu that he's writing right now.
Okay.
So, and he'll announce it on Fat Man Beyond once he's able to.
Nice.
Mark Bernardin is like I honestly is all of our goals, right? To be him. So it's so cool. You guys chat with him like, damn, that's neat. That's so freaking cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm glad he's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's cool in person.
Oh yeah. Well,
awesome.
I gave him all these personal stories, and I was like, I've been trying to see you for 4 years, and he was like, get over here, and
so cool.
we got a picture together. Of course, my eyes were closed in the picture, but I still got it.
That's what Photoshop's
Still
for. You can
counts.
fix that.
Go real Asian on the picture. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Get those Brock eyes from Pokemon.
You got some amazing pictures from. I swear, we've been tweeting as many as we can, and of course, you've been tweeting as many as you can. You got some amazing images from this LA Comic Con. It just looks so freaking neat. Any last things before we get heading out?
No, I just want to say it's a must go to. Like, if you have the opportunity next year to be in LA and go to this, it's incredible. Like, it really was such a fun time. Everybody was enjoying themselves. The panels were really good. The talent that comes there is incredible. And it's just a really smooth operation. Like, I've been to events, most of my professional life, and this one was just really, really smooth. I was really impressed with it. And there's just a lot of opportunities to meet the people who create the things that you love. So I highly recommend it. I'm sad that I didn't cosplay, but next year, like we talked about in the beginning, that metal hand is getting put to good use and being incorporated in a costume. And I will be doing that next year because it was just so fun. So highly recommend everybody out there. Definitely go to LA Comic Con 2023.
Maybe Terminator 2. I'm also thinking like maybe you could do like Terminator with that,
Oh, I don't know. There you go.
The cosplay we're thinking here, guys. I think Winter Soldier's the easy one, but we could think of some more.
Yeah, we should poll it online. We'll poll it online for next year and let the fans choose.
That's smart.
Damn.
It makes sense though that Comic-Con would be so organized. I mean, geeks and nerds, duh. So different from doing things like a jiu-jitsu tournament or all that kind of stuff. Different vibes because the organization is so different. Yeah, you think, but I'm so disorganized, so I don't know. I guess I don't fall in that category. And I'm definitely a giant nerd.
Try playing D&D once, you get organized.
Any panels? Oh yeah. Were there any panels you kind of like wanted to go to, but you had to make a choice? Like, I gotta go to this. I can't make this one.
Yeah. Great question. Obviously, I wanted to try to get to Simu Liu, and if you've seen any clips of what Simu Liu has done for his panel this year, it was like you think he's Tom Kenny. He does an amazing Smeagol voice. He can do the Emperor from Star Wars. And I'm not like, it's not like, oh, it's Simu doing that voice. It's like, it sounds like that voice.
Wow.
So Simu would have been incredible. Did I talk about Curran Walters? Because that one did.
He didn't.
No, okay. So sorry, because I remember this because we did actually get to talk to him. I was like, oh, he had a booth. He was doing autograph signings, but I was able to run into him outside and we got to chat with Curran. He plays Robin, and in the last season of Titans, got to play Red Hood. And we got to chat with Curran Walters as well. And, silly enough, the clip will come out and the interview will come out. It was a short one with him. But I got to ask him, hey, what is it like not to be in season 4 of Titans? And I've been watching it up until this last episode, but they're doing it in 2 parts on HBO Max. And he told me, well, who says I'm not in season 4?
What's up, guys? How is Comic-Con day 2? Dude, it's great. It's actually my first day, but it's great. It's so cool to see everybody, meeting a lot of cool people, and
Definitely.
Yeah.
Dude, Titans just started.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about not being in the season? Are you a little bummed?
I can't say if I am or if I'm not in the season, but no spoiler. But it's cool. Everyone's killing it this season. The cast is amazing. The writers know what they're doing, so it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The best Robin.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Love it. Dude, hit this guy. Watch everything he's in.
Season 4, Titans, on HBO Max now.
There you go, baby.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Yeah,
Ooh, exclusive.
Yeah, I should have dropped spoiler alert in there, but I was like, oh, damn. So we'll see. Curran Walters might pop up, and by far, really badass portrayal of Red Hood on the show, and who knows, he might be back for part 2 of season 4.
That's so freaking neat.
Very nice.
That's amazing. Any last things out of LA Comic Con?
Nope, just go.
Okay.
Go have a fun time. If you're into anime, if you're into Marvel, you're into DC, you're into Lord of the Rings, whatever area of fandom you're into, there is an area for you. It's a super welcoming event. It felt like a family, like a massive family. It doesn't matter what genre or what category of nerddom you're in, but it felt so great. And it's something I don't want to miss from here on out. It truly was an awesome and incredible time. And I think anybody could go there and enjoy something of it.
That's so cool.
Steve.
All right, guys, you heard it here. We definitely
Nice.
are going to go in full force next year. Everybody's on board with that one. We have so many conventions to go to. It's going to be awesome. But LA Comic Con is definitely on the list. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. And we will be talking to you next week. Bye.
Geek Freaks.
Thanks for shaking it with us. If you like what you hear, please like, follow, and subscribe. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us on Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at JoyStickShow, Joystick Show. Or if you feel like submitting topics or asking questions to be discussed on further episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. Peace out and make it a great rest of your week.